Right, so next up we have the draw phase. Now, the draw phase is one of the phases which probably has the least amount, well, second phase that has the least amount of framework events. So once again, draw phase begins. Active player may discard one card from his hand. So that can be crucial. So depending on your what cards you got in your hand, if there is something that you think this card is no good to me, you say you've already accrued lots of resources. Oh, I've got another resource card, I don't really need it. So this is your point where you get the opportunity to discard one card, and then the following framework event is then the active player returns his hand size to his reserve value. So the reserve value is dictated by your affiliation card. So I can't see it in that sleeve, but everyone has a starting reserve of 6. Now, this is at one point to be aware of. This is when you probably need to check the game state. So you need to check the game state for cards that either A, increase your reserve, or decrease your reserve. So there's a few cards out there. The ones that decrease your reserve are ones like Vader's Fist. So Vader's Fist reduces your reserve value by 1. There are other cards that prevent your reserve value from changing. I think that's Smuggler's Run, but that's probably not used very much, so you might not see that at all in play. And then there are other cards that increase your reserve value, and one that I have been using quite often in my capital shit deck is one called Command and Control. So this increases your reserve value by 1 for each objective in your victory pile. So things can get very crazy. I think the maximum I've had 2 of these out, and I've had 2 objectives destroyed, and I had my reserve value up to 10. That's crazy heights. So yeah, so it's at this point it doesn't say in this framework thing, but it's a good point before you start drawing cards. And drawing cards has become a bit of an issue in competitive play, is that you have to check for anything that's affecting the game state. So, key card that's come up in competition at the moment, which caused a bit of ruckus, and I talked about it in my last interview with Brad, is Shifty Lookout. So Shifty Lookout is while this unit is ready, each opponent is considered to have 1 additional card in hand. So having 1 additional card in hand theoretically is like reducing your reserve value. So if I had 4 cards in hand, so here's a hand, 4 cards in hand, but Shifty Lookout was out, my reserve value was 6. It counts that it makes me think that I've got 5, so I'm only allowed to draw 1. And what's been causing people a bit of problems during tournament play is people are not checking the board state correctly, and they're missing that the Shifty Lookout is there. They may draw 1 extra card that they shouldn't have drawn. Yeah, so just to reiterate, cards that can affect your hand size also impact your reserve value, so they go hand in hand. So to this point, it doesn't say it in these rules, but for all those players learning the game, this is a point where you want to check not only what's on your side of the table, but what's on your opponent's side of the table for any effects that might cause your hand size to be bigger, smaller, or preventing you from doing certain things. So it's just one to remember. Right, so after you've checked that and the active player returns his hand size to his reserve value, so you've drawn up to your reserve value, depending on how it's effective, then you have another player action window. At this point, you're allowed to play events or trigger actions on your cards. Then also at the end, check for anything that affects after the draw phase has ended. So check for any cards that affect there, and that pretty much covers the draw phase. So I think the main takeaway from the draw phase part is either remembering what you've done in the refresh phase to get cards out of your hand to maximize the cards you draw in this phase, but then very key, just take a moment to say, right, what have I got on the board that's affecting my side, and what have you got on the board that's affecting yours that could affect my draw phase? It's very important, and the way the current tournaments works, you don't want anyone to lose or get disqualified from drawing extra cards that they shouldn't have. So a key phase that I want to highlight is the draw phase. Is, like I said, just do a quick check. That's all it takes, and it'll stand you in good stead into the future.